Now we're asking if sorrow can ever end. Not only personal sorrow, but also the sorrow of all mankind. Sorrow is sorrow. It's not yours or mine. The sorrow that has been created through these 5,000 years of war. The sorrow that human beings are preparing for wars. The sorrow of endless division between people. As the Catholics, the Protestants, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Muslims, the Arab and the Jew, the American and the Russian, the Hindu and the Muslim, and so on. This constant division is bringing about great conflict in the world. And we don't seem to realize this. We don't seem to realize the appalling danger we are facing. And we want to escape from it all through some form of excitement, knowledge, explanation. But to be sensitively aware of all this, the society that man has created. So we are part of all that, and therefore we are utterly responsible, totally, completely responsible for everything that's happening in the world. You may not accept all this, but as we said, one must critically, skeptically, with considerable doubt, examine all this. We must exercise our brains to its highest capacity. And if that capacity is made incapable by our personal sorrow, by our personal fears, we reduce fear of all mankind, which all human beings bear, which all human beings throughout the world suffer, uncertain, anxious, in conflict, confused, seeking constantly security. This is the common ground of all mankind. Whether you live in India, in the Far East, here, Europe, or anywhere. So our consciousness is the common consciousness of all mankind. And in that consciousness, there is sorrow, fear, pleasure, an occasional flash of love. And we are trying to see if suffering, which distorts thinking, can ever end. Please be good enough to ask that question of yourself. Not the questioner is asking you to put that question to yourself, but it is your sorrow, the sorrow of mankind. No words, no explanation, no escape can wipe away that sorrow. One has to face it. Either you face it obliquely, casually, with impatience, trying to go beyond it. Then if you are, you are not directly confronting it. That is to remain completely, totally, with that which is, without any thought interfering, distorting what actually is sorrow. Sorrow is both self-pity, self-torture, self-abnegation, and the various activities of the self trying to fulfill its own desires, failing or succeeding. And all that is part and more of sorrow. Can one look at it closely, be totally in contact with it? One can only be totally, completely in contact with it if there is no division between you and the thing you call sorrow. You are not separate from sorrow. You, the observer, thinking that sorrow is different from you and acting upon sorrow, trying to escape, suppress, analyze, run, go beyond it or end it. All that is points to the division that exists between you and sorrow. That's the tradition in which we have lived. But the fact is you are sorrow, not you separate from sorrow. When you are angry, anger is not different from you. When you are violent, that violence is not different from you. When you have created the religious figures, symbols, that those creations are part of you. They are not separate from you. Though you may worship them as something separate from you. Man has created that. Those symbols, images made by the hand or by the mind.